everyone. This is Tom Reber, your host today on the Jacksonville Buzz. I have a wonderful guest today, Joe Muskus of Raising Tide Sales Consulting, LLC. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Tom.
I love your company's name, Rising Tide Sales. Tell me all about it.
Well, obviously living here in Jacksonville area, being by the ocean, wanted to tie that in, and the kind of catchphrase of it is Rising Tide Sales, constant and current and consistent. So similar to the tide. And
when I think of rising tide, I think of one of my favorite phrases: rising tide brings high tide to all boats. Is rising tide. It brings all boats up at the same time.
Absolutely.
So how did you get started in sales consulting, and tell me more about that?
Well, I've been in sales and sales management for over 25 years.
Wow.
Before that, I was on the operations side. And so gave me a unique perspective, especially in the manufacturing space.
Wow.
But going into it, my parents were entrepreneurs when I was growing up. My dad came back from Vietnam and was driving a truck for UPS, and he kind of was tired of people telling him what to do after being in Vietnam.
Yeah.
So he ended up starting a landscaping business, and neither one of them went to college, but raised 4 kids, went to college.
Wow.
And but during that time, as I was younger, watching them struggle being entrepreneurs and trying to run that business and raise a family, it wasn't as easy back then.
Isn't that funny how it comes full circle now?
Yeah, absolutely. So now I look at it and say, well, if they had a company like mine to kind of manage the sales side of it for them, it probably would have been a little easier ride, and they could have focused more on their vision of the company and growing it.
Well, it's interesting you bring up vision. Being a sales consultant company, how do you share the vision to helping companies get bigger, better, stronger? Tell me more about that.
Sure. Well, I've teamed up with Sales Acceleration, which has a sales operating system that we put in place. So a lot of these small and mid-sized companies don't really have a process, a documented process especially. So by implementing that infrastructure into there, it helps them have something consistent that then they can train up to. And that allows them we fix, the forecasting, so they can hire with confidence. They can know, midway through the year, hey, we're doing really well, but then they kind of get, well, I don't want to hire somebody, then I have to fire them, and which isn't good for the culture.
No, so, it's I have a phrase I've always lived by. So if I have to train you, I have to fire you. I need people that are willing to come in and go to work and figure things out with me. I have a saying: people, process, technology brings synergy. And it sounds like to me you bring the process and enhance it with the technology to and magnify the people that they have.
Absolutely. And some owners, don't really, they've had enough vision for a product or a service initially, and then now they've grown, and now they're managing all the aspects of their business, and they're working through the weekends. They don't have any time.
But it sounds like to me you help them find the cracks where the gold is going out the back door, and you can seal those cracks up with what you provide. Yeah,
absolutely.
Wow. I mean, and that's where you actually take an average business and make them great, and then you can then make them excellent. Give them that. So if you had a target customer, who do you like to really work with?
Well, it's really more along the lines having at least 1 to 2 salespeople. Or potentially a company that's ramping up and ready to hire a sales team, because sometimes that's a little better because you don't have to break it to fix it.
Right.
So you can really structure it and build it from the ground up and then hire to that standard. But usually probably in the range of about 3 to 150 million in revenue.
3 to 150 million. Wow. Okay, so you scale it pretty big.
Yeah.
When I see what you're talking about, there's a lot of companies out there that really need that. And
Absolutely.
Joe, that's because what happens is most people hit that glass ceiling. Most leaders in companies, they can only do so much, and they continue to do so much, but they don't grow. And you have to empower a few others, which it sounds like you guys do in spades, and take care of that and show them how to let go and build as I like to say, the 50% rule. Who can you hire that's 50% of you that you can trust? Have unconditional trust with, get the job done, and it sounds like your company comes in and builds that framework for them to get there.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. And it also allows us to identify, and it's a little bit of counseling as well. There's a lot of small business owners, they've got their vision and it's a little hard for them to relinquish some control sometimes.
100%. Well, it sounds like to me you can say, hey, this is my recommendation, but this is the results of it. So you provide that vision for them to go to the next level.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Joe, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you.
Awesome job.
Appreciate it.
Guys, thank you for tuning in. Joe Muskus, awesome information. Go to Dailies News Network, learn more about Joe and his business, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Cheers.